Hello everyone, welcome to my $1,000,000 steak video segment. So first things first, we're going to make sure that we rinse off our ribeyes with some water and pat them dry just to make sure that we get all that yucky preservative off of our ribeyes. And then we are going to place them on a cutting board. So in the next clip you're going to see right here, I'm going to put some olive oil on top of my steaks. So the reason why I'm putting the olive oil is to make sure that my seasoning adheres to my steak. The oil also helps me to get a nice crust on my steak as well. But I wanted to mention to all of you, as Gordon Ramsay say, the first time you put your steak in a piping hot saucepan, you are going to lose about 35% of that seasoning. So with the oil, it helps us not lose as much seasoning. So that's the purpose of putting olive oil on top of the steaks. And as you can guys see, I am beating the crap out of these steaks. I know I can use a meat tenderizer, but hey, I recommend this method. You know, we are living in crazy times. You know, you need a couple stress relievers throughout the day. So now we are going to heavily, emphasis on heavily, season our steaks. I am using a dose of J'adore seasoning salt that is coming, and fresh black peppercorn, and Mrs. Dash all-purpose seasoning or original seasoning. And guys, feel free to add on seasoning. This is more of a restaurant quality steak, so that's why I'm only using these 3 elements, because this is the standard like Maestro's, Fleming's, you know, Ruth Chris ribeye steak. All right, so I'm heavily seasoning these bad boys, and I'm getting them ready for my piping hot cast iron. All right, so I'm gonna add about 4 tablespoons of olive oil. And we are going to sear our ribeye steaks for 5 minutes on each side. So I'm going to push it in the center of the cast iron so I can get a good distribution of heat. And these clips are sped up, but remember, if you want a medium well steak with that perfect warm pink center, make sure that you sear your steak for 5 minutes on each side. And if you want a well done steak, you're going to basically sear it 7 minutes on each side. It takes 12 minutes for a well done steak. All right, so the garlic and the thyme is basically serving as my aromatics. You want to add fragrance to your steak. That's just going to give you that added extra flavor to a perfect steak. So just to give you guys some more background, aromatics is thyme, rosemary, garlic, whatever fragrance you would like to use. And I just added a teaspoon of butter. And I'm going to wait for my butter to melt, and then I'm going to baste this beautiful ribeye steak. So the purpose of basting your steak with butter is so it can caramelize and give your steak a little bit more color, and also gives you that nut brown flavor that is so sought after in the culinary industry. So we are doing culinary 5-star $1,000,000 steak. That's why I give it that $1,000,000 steak, because this steak can compete with any steak in the culinary world. I put all my money on it. Like, it's perfect, it's juicy, it's flavorful, it's decadent, it's amazing. So as you guys can see, my butter is melting and just working with that garlic and that thyme, and it's turning into brown butter. Now let me tell y'all about brown butter. That is my favorite component in cooking. That brown butter just elevates everything, and it makes your house smell amazing. So trust my word, you want brown butter. All right, so I'm just tilting this cast iron off my stovetop range so it doesn't continue to cook. And I'm just basting it, and I'm putting those aromatics on top of my steak. Just basting that bad boy. And by basting it with the brown butter, it still keeps your steak juicy. Now, let me give you guys some more techniques because it's going to go to the next scene in a little bit. But we are going to let our steak rest for about 5 minutes. That's the key of having a perfect juicy steak, to let it basically sit in those juices and just remain moist before you're cutting it. Because if you cut it right off the stovetop, it is going to be blah, okay? And also, another tip, make sure that your meat gets room temp before you put it on that cast iron, because if you take cold meat right on a cast iron, it's going to be blah, tough, and rubbery, and we don't want that. All right, so I'm about to show you guys the money shot. Are you ready? Okay. All right. money shot. Perfect, warm pink center, juicy, decadent. I'm about to zoom in so y'all can see the technique behind this $1 million steak. Juicy, juicy. Woo! Somebody cut the check. Somebody put the money alarm in the back. Cut the check. $1 million steak. So as I'm showing you guys, I have my red potatoes, my red ranch potatoes, which is going to be in the next video, under, and then I have my blanched asparagus that I just blanched in some hot water for 2 to 3 minutes, and I am placing those ribeye strips on top, and then you'll see my wine-based lobster, which is the video for that as well. And that's basically it for my $1 million steak. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I see you in the next one. Thank you.